Okay, Bill Kevin Dye Painting. Thought we'd just start right here. A little bit of snow still on the decks and stuff, but we'll be able to see enough to go from there. So I'll just kind of start with what we do. First day we trench out this dirt away from the house so that we get a clear shot of that stem wall, and then we pressure wash. And by pressure wash, we use bleach on bad moldy areas, which we haven't seen any of yet, but we do make sure we have a clean surface. I use a small enough pressure washer so that we get a really nice clean surface, but we don't chew the wood up. That's extremely important that unfortunately I see a lot of times up here. And then we start prepping. So prep is everything. We are a prepped based company. That's what we do. So to us, stuff like this line is caulked. This line is caulked all over the entire building. I really like that. Is going to give you the longevity. If you're going to pay to have the house done, you know, the old saying of cry once, buy once, cry once really comes into play, because it's you know, we have to do this correctly so that you're not doing it again relatively soon. All lights are stripped off the house, taken off the house completely for when we paint, and put back on when we are done. If you have new lights that you'd put back on or you'd like us to put back on, we can do that as well. Any woodwork we repair. I was a licensed carpenter for many years, and it looks like stuff like this. It's very minor. This isn't hard work to do. So we will purchase and repair anything that needs to be done. Notice on this board it seems kind of light. Single coat, maybe 2 coats. Everything we do is 2 coats. We only use Kelly-Moore paint. We use AcryShield. It is their flagship, top of the line exterior paint. We spray it, back roll, spray it. So that we don't have any proof of brush or roller lines. But I'm a huge fan. Everything's 2 coats, even if it's the same color. My main intention when we do these, and I've said for many years, is that we actually want the house to appear as if it's been dipped. You know, we want it to be completely and absolutely solid, and that's good. We have a 2-year unlimited warranty, and I really don't like to fix stuff. So for me, having, you know, doing it right is definitely the imperative. Okay, so door, I would suggest that if we're going to keep that a wood door, that we put a some kind of coating on it, something, maybe a spar varnish, maybe just a little bit of oil stain. You do not want this door to start going bad, and this is where your water and stuff, you know, you might get some water back here. So when we do trim, I like to, this is called the California cut, and that's just simple to here. When I do trim, I like to wrap it. I like it to actually appear as if it's one piece. It's not an extra charge or anything, but I just feel it looks far more professional. And then we caulk in all that stuff, all that's caulked in. So I'll try to do a speedy move here to keep your video under 10 minutes and not waste your life here, but pretty basic stuff. I like to look at every part of the house. Here's where trenching is very important, having that moved away from the wall. And then after we're completed, we push it all back, obviously. So I'm gonna break trail right here. Okay, so here's the deck situation. So from what I see, we're looking at a painted deck, obviously, which you already know. So it would definitely need to be, if we were to remove this paint, it's possible. It would be tough. It would be tough. There is a couple options. Now up here in the pickets, I would suggest they stay painted in the color of the house and the handrail in the trim of the house. That's a great look. We sand them. All this stuff is prepped. You know, we don't just paint over this stuff. But we sand them. I use a really high grade paint. Lasts a long time. Not a big deal. All that stuff is pretty darn easy, but our situation would be these deck boards. So my suggestion would be we get in, we talk to a carpenter and ask what the cost would be to replace the deck boards with bare wood, like a redwood that we could stain, and then we weigh that price against how long it would take to pressure wash, sand, prime, paint, paint. So that's the process to get rid of this. And we've done a lot of them, but it can become expensive. And sometimes when you look at the cost of possibly just applying new wood, you know, installing brand new wood, a carpenter comes in, this is relatively easy stuff to do. He's not having to do anything except for the tops. It can sometimes get close, and you know, and we'd have the same effect. I mean, if we stripped all the paint though and did a stain, it wouldn't look as good as if we stripped all the paint and you know, had new boards, if there was new boards. So let me kind of bounce that around. There is a lot of square footage, you know. Okay, so on stuff like this, we used a product called Kelbond Pro. Main idea is to try to get rid of this checking. We'll never get rid of all of it because it's just in the wood, but I want it to be not as obvious. I want those pillars to be prepped up nicely, sanded, you know, caulked in where they need to be. In Kelbond Pro, which is a clear, heavy-duty glue-ish primer, it goes on by brush or spray, and it hardens. It's really a nice thing. So, yeah, I see. Yeah, and there's a lot of deck space up here too. Okay, on all this stuff up here, on that wood, we actually get in there, we pressure wash with a very light pressure wash. There we'd use, like areas like this is where we'd use the bleach. We'd bleach these areas to make sure they are free of the mold, and then I would suggest a clear. We put a clear on it to just for longevity. Some of this we might not be able to get rid of, but we can definitely try our best. We get pretty close, but some, if it's in the wood for years. Last person that pressure washed got pretty happy in there, so not a big deal, but it's not that big of a deal for us. We do a lot of those too. Yeah, this gutter, when we pressure wash, we clean your gutters out as well. That's not an extra charge. We just blast out the gutters. I would almost suggest, personally, if we do this stuff through here, that you maybe give a call down to Angel Sheet Metal. They do cheap gutters, and see if you could install a heavier gutter on this one right here. It protect these steps. It'd be cheaper to have them come and put in a $200 gutter, or what have you, than replace this step in this deck area. So again, full prep, like everything we do. We get rid of the California cut and we wrap the trim to make it look professional. I use low sheen exterior paints, you know, by Kelly Moore. So what I like to do is, when you put 2 or 3 coats, it has a natural little bit of a shine. Not enough to make it semi-gloss, but enough to be cleanable and to repel water. That is the key. So yeah, these decks are pretty bad here. I'm gonna open the door here. Yeah, so same thing, prepped, painted, not a big deal. Hello, there's your video camera. Same thing through here. We could also route your wires too. Like we can pin them all up really nice and then paint them into the property so you don't even see them. Same thing through here. Everything is pretty basic. This is what we do. Definitely we'll spray the gutters out with a pressure washer. Lights will be removed. This door looks the same except for the caulking here, and here. All this stuff would be caulked in. Colors do not matter to us unless they're pure whites. Everything else for us is it's going to be the same exact cost because everything's 2 coats. So I can get black to cover in 2 coats. It's just the pure whites. When we do pure whites and they turn to like an igloo white, that's where it gets a little interesting. So I need to get to this edge over here. I'm gonna just jump your fence. Okay, we take these down. We either keep them, paint them in the trim color and keep them, or you could change the numbers out and we'll install those as well. That's up to you. Underneath decks, so pardon me, some people have us do underneath the decks. I don't know why they did that. So that we're obviously painting, we don't have a choice, but I'm not really sure why people do underneath the decks. It's just gonna flake, but we could, if you'd like, put a coat of stain. But my suggestion is, I don't see mold, I don't see any damage, I would leave it. And we work on the top of the deck. I don't see the you know, what the gain that you would really get out of it if you paid us to do the detail work underneath the deck. And just me, I have a feeling that you're not doing a whole lot of entertaining right here. So, and it doesn't look bad anyway, so it's not as if it's an area that's high traffic. So again, trenching, prep on everything, pretty much all your standard stuff. A lot of railing on the property. The only deck that I would possibly see, like this stuff, would be the checking would be fixed. Now on this, my suggestion too would be to take these pillars into the new body color of the house, whatever that's going to be. These, because right now when they kind of stopped doing the pillar painting in the 80s, so you kind of have it's a little bit of a it just seems to be a little bit of a, I don't know, just it dates the house. It's a lot of detail work when you're not getting the pop. The pop should be on all the trim and so forth, but that's just my opinion. I can emulate exactly what you have, so I'm not sure what the heck's going on under here. Partial paint, partial again, this is going to kind of come down to what's going to happen with a deck. If the wood's replaced on the deck, then we don't touch it. It'll just be gorgeous when you pull up, you know, we stain it and then we go. But now on this, it almost appears like we don't have a choice. We kind of have to paint it because, yeah. So I'm going to have a lot of interesting things to write up, because it's like almost we paint it because some are painted. Here you've got 4 boards out. Then here you've got these backboards and not these. So we might make it uniform. Now, if this doesn't matter to you, that's not a big deal. If this is the underside of the deck and you don't want to spend the money to replace, that's not a big deal. So I don't want you to feel as if it is. We can paint it, we can do whatever needs to be done, we can sand it, whatever you need, we can do. Replacing the boards, I prefer to have a carpenter do it, just because he's going to do it faster and cheaper than we can. Because although I was a carpenter, I am not licensed now, and I really prefer to stay above board on all of our local laws and all that fun stuff. And this would be more than cosmetic, just replacing all these boards if we decide to do that. Down here, same thing, paint, trench, pretty basic stuff. I'm gonna have some questions for you that we need to discuss, but we can pretty much go from there. We have everything we know that we need to look at now that I know I can paint, that's not counting the deck. Pretty big house. Pretty big house. It's going to be a time consumer for sure, but you know, we like the big houses. We kind of like to set up shop and be somewhere for 10 days rather than show up one place on a Monday and then Tuesday and then Thursday all different places. I think it gets interesting. So cleaning out this gutter is key. So basically I'm going to use this video for myself to write down everything, as well as for you guys, and to kind of let you see what I see. It's a great house on a great street. And it's got a lot of potential when it comes to painting and what we want to do with the deck. So yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll just kind of give you a call and we'll pretty much go from there. But yeah, thank you very much, and yeah, I look forward to talking to you. All right, bye.